You've been told that setting bigger goals leads to bigger results, that believing in yourself is the key to achievement, that visualization and positive thinking will manifest your dreams. I believed this too, until I realized these popular strategies were the exact reason I stayed stuck for years. The truth is, most goal-setting advice is backwards, and the myths we've been fed about success are actually sabotaging our progress. What I'm about to show you will challenge everything you think you know about achievement. The self-help industry has sold you a dangerous lie wrapped in hope and positive thinking. For decades, gurus have preached that ambitious goals unlock extraordinary results. They've convinced millions that visualization creates reality, that believing in yourself guarantees success, and that detailed planning transforms dreams into achievements. These techniques feel good because they activate the same neural pathways as actual accomplishment. When you visualize your ideal life in vivid detail, your brain releases dopamine as if you've already achieved that success. This neurochemical reward system tricks your mind into experiencing the satisfaction of accomplishment without requiring any real work. The more detailed your visualization, the more your brain believes it's already done. This creates a false sense of progress that actually reduces your motivation to take action. Writing down goals triggers a similar neurological trap. Your mind treats the act of planning as progress itself. You spend hours crafting the perfect goal statement, breaking it down into steps, creating timelines and milestones. This planning phase floods your system with the same neurochemicals released during actual achievement. You walk away feeling productive and accomplished, even though nothing has changed in your real circumstances. The obsession with finding your deeper purpose or defining your why becomes another sophisticated form of procrastination. When faced with the uncomfortable reality of daily execution, your mind retreats into philosophical exploration. You convince yourself that you need to understand your motivation more deeply before you can begin. This creates an endless loop of self-analysis that feels meaningful but keeps you safely distant from the risk of failure. Detailed action plans often serve as elaborate procrastination tools disguised as productivity. You create comprehensive systems, research optimal approaches, and design perfect workflows. This preparation phase provides intellectual stimulation and emotional satisfaction while protecting you from the vulnerability of actually starting. Your brain experiences the dopamine hit of progress without the discomfort of real work. Most motivational habits operate on this same principle of false reward. You read inspiring books, watch videos about success, attend seminars, and follow productivity influencers. These activities create the illusion of forward movement while keeping you trapped in consumption rather than creation. Your brain gets addicted to the emotional high of inspiration without requiring you to translate that energy into concrete action. This explains why New Year's resolutions fail at such predictable rates. The ritual of goal setting provides immediate emotional satisfaction. You feel transformed just by making the commitment. Your brain experiences the neurochemical reward of change without actually changing anything. By February, when the initial excitement wears off and real work is required, your motivation has already been depleted by premature celebration. The fundamental problem isn't your lack of willpower or commitment, it's that you've been trained to seek emotional satisfaction from the idea of progress rather than from actual progress. Your neural pathways have learned to find reward in the comfortable zone of planning, dreaming, and preparing rather than in the uncertain territory of execution. This creates what I call motivational resistance. The more you rely on inspiration and positive thinking to drive your behavior, the more your brain becomes dependent on these artificial highs. When real challenges emerge and motivation naturally fluctuates, you interpret this as personal failure rather than a predictable neurological response. Breaking free from this trap requires understanding that sustainable achievement operates on completely different principles than motivational culture suggests. Instead of seeking inspiration, you need systematic behavior change. Instead of visualization, you need strategic action. Instead of believing harder, you need better systems. But there's an even more insidious trap waiting for those who manage to escape the motivation myth. The timing of when you begin pursuing your goals creates patterns of self-sabotage that are almost impossible to detect. The timing trap strikes without warning, and you probably won't recognize it until it's destroyed another year of potential progress. Most ambitious professionals make this mistake within the first week of pursuing any meaningful goal, and it guarantees abandonment within 30 days. Productivity experts have convinced you that daily progress tracking creates accountability and momentum. You download habit tracking apps, create detailed spreadsheets, and measure every metric possible. This seems logical because measurement creates awareness, and awareness drives drives improvement. Your brain loves this approach because it provides constant feedback and the illusion of scientific precision. Daily tracking transforms healthy goal pursuit into obsessive monitoring that sabotages long-term success. When you check your progress every single day, you become hypersensitive to natural fluctuations that mean absolutely nothing. Your weight varies by 3 pounds depending on hydration and meal timing. Your productivity oscillates based on sleep quality and stress levels. Your mood shifts with weather patterns and hormonal cycles. None of these daily variations predict your ultimate success, but tracking them creates emotional chaos that derails your efforts. Popular accountability methods create psychological dependency instead of building genuine self-discipline. You join online communities, find accountability partners, and report your daily progress to others. This external validation becomes addictive because human attention releases dopamine in your reward system. Soon, you're performing for your audience rather than pursuing your actual objectives. When external validation disappears or becomes critical, your motivation collapses because it was never internally generated. Most reward systems reinforce the exact behaviors you want to eliminate by celebrating effort instead of results. You reward yourself for going to the gym, not for building strength. You celebrate writing pages, not for creating valuable content. You praise consistent action, not meaningful outcomes. This trains your brain to seek satisfaction from showing up rather than from achieving transformation. Your neural pathways learn to find fulfillment in the process while remaining indifferent to actual progress. Perfectionist tendencies disguised as high standards become the ultimate progress killer by preventing any meaningful movement toward your objectives. You set unrealistic expectations for daily performance, then interpret normal human inconsistency as personal failure. Missing one workout becomes evidence that you lack discipline. Eating one unhealthy meal proves you can't change. Making one mistake confirms your inadequacy. This all-or-nothing thinking creates shame cycles that make starting over feel impossible. Starting goals at traditional times like Monday or January creates psychological setup for failure through fresh start effect dependency. Your brain learns to associate new beginnings with specific calendar dates, making it nearly impossible to restart after inevitable setback. When you miss a day on Wednesday, you convince yourself to wait until next Monday. When you stumble in March, you defer serious effort until next January. This temporal perfectionism keeps you trapped in endless preparation cycles. Most goal-setting frameworks create elaborate illusions of progress while keeping you trapped in the same behavioral patterns year after year. You refine your systems, optimize your tracking methods, and experiment with different accountability structures. This constant adjustment provides intellectual stimulation and feels like meaningful work, but it's sophisticated procrastination that avoids the real challenge of sustained behavioral change. The entire foundation of conventional goal setting operates on flawed assumptions about human psychology and sustainable behavior modification. We've been taught to micromanage our progress when macro patterns determine our outcomes. True progress happens through strategic neglect of daily metrics in favor of weekly or monthly pattern recognition. Instead of celebrating daily consistency, you evaluate overall trajectory. Instead of tracking every fluctuation, you measure meaningful milestones. Instead of seeking external validation, you develop internal assessment systems that recognize authentic transformation. This shift from activity monitoring to outcome evaluation reveals why most people stay stuck despite constant effort. But understanding this progression illusion only scratches the surface of what's really sabotaging your potential. Real transformation doesn't happen by adding new behaviors to your existing identity. It requires strategic removal of the patterns that keep you locked in familiar limitations. Your brain maintains identity homeostasis, automatically resisting changes that threaten your current self-concept. When you try to force new habits onto an unchanged identity, your neural pathways rebel against this incongruence. The paradigm shift transforms every setback into acceleration by treating goals as identity experiments rather than performance targets. Each failure becomes valuable data about which aspects of your identity need updating. This reframes progress as identity evolution instead of behavior modification, fundamentally changing your relationship with both success and failure.